They moved on. You know they did. They have their own life now, their own routines, their own people, their own thoughts you are no longer part of. And yet, they still appear in your mind. Not every day, not constantly, but enough to interrupt you. A memory comes back while you're driving. A sentence returns before you fall asleep. A small detail brings them back without warning. And what makes it painful is not only that you still think about them, it's that you suspect they don't think about you the same way. So why does your mind keep returning to someone who has already left? And what if the answer has less to do with them than you think? Most people assume the answer is simple. If I still think about them, I must still love them. But that is not always true. Thinking about someone and missing someone are not the same thing. You can remember someone without wanting them back. You can feel pulled toward a memory while knowing the connection is over. You can still carry someone mentally even after the emotional bond has changed. Sometimes what keeps returning is not love. It is unfinished meaning. The mind rarely gets stuck on people. It gets stuck on what they meant. When something feels complete, it eventually settles into the past. But when something ends without clarity, the mind keeps circling it. Not because you are weak, not because you refuse to move on, but because a part of you is still trying to understand what happened. The mind keeps returning to the same moments, the same silence, the same questions, trying to find the point where the story finally makes sense. What many people call attachment is often a tension that never fully let go. A part of your emotional energy stayed connected to that person, not because they are still present, not because they still belong in your life, but because something about the experience remained open. Life moved forward. The calendar changed. New days arrived. New conversations happened. But somewhere underneath all of that, your mind kept returning to the same place, because unfinished things rarely stay in the past. This is why silence can feel heavier than an ending. An ending gives the mind a shape. Silence leaves empty space. No final conversation, no clear explanation, no moment where everything becomes understandable, just distance, a slow disappearance, a change you had to accept before you could fully understand it. And when the mind cannot understand something emotionally, it often keeps replaying it, not to suffer, but to complete what never felt complete. Over time, something subtle happens. You stop thinking only about the person as they were. You begin thinking about what they represented. Maybe they represented being chosen. Maybe they represented belonging. Maybe they represented safety, hope, connection, possibility. Or maybe they represented the version of yourself you were becoming when they were still there. This is why letting go can feel harder than it should. You are not only releasing a person, you are releasing the meaning that became attached to them, too. And sometimes, the strongest attachment is not to what happened. It is to what could have happened, the conversation that never became honest, the closeness that never became safe, the future that almost felt real. Reality eventually reveals flaws. Reality shows limitations. Reality forces people to become ordinary. But possibility does not have to face ordinary life. It can remain untouched, preserved, almost perfect. Sometimes, What lingers is not the past. Sometimes it is the future that never happened. These thoughts often return during vulnerable moments when you are tired, lonely, uncertain, disconnected from yourself. The mind searches for emotional reference points when the present feels unstable. It returns to people who once carried strong meaning, people who made you feel seen, people who made a chapter of your life feel meaningful, people who became connected to an important chapter, not because they are the answer, but because the feeling attached to them is familiar. And familiarity can feel comforting, even when it hurts. This may be the deepest part. Sometimes you're not really missing them. You're missing who you were when they were close. The version of you that still hoped. The version that still imagined. The version that felt wanted, understood, awake, or possible. Certain people stay in the mind because they became attached to a part of your identity. And when they leave, it can feel as if access to that version of yourself disappeared with them. Maybe you are not trying to return to the person. Maybe you are trying to return to the feeling of who you were near them. Some people remain in our minds much longer than they remain in our lives. Not because they were perfect, not because they were meant to stay, and not because we failed to move forward. Sometimes they remain because they became connected to meaning, a chapter, a possibility, a version of ourselves that still matters. The mind does not measure importance by presence. It measures importance by emotional impact. So if someone still returns to your thoughts, it may not mean you need them back. It may mean there is something inside that experience still asking to be understood. Maybe the person is gone. Maybe they truly moved on. But part of you may still be standing near the place where something important happened. And healing may begin when you stop asking why they no longer think about you and start asking what part of yourself never left. If this reflection resonated with you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who may need it. And tell me in the comments, have you ever realized you were not missing the person, but the feeling they represented?